Welcome to Monday, December 8th, Council for the Village of Yellow Springs. We do have a scheduled 6 p.m. executive session. I will entertain a motion to move into executive session.
Well, let's roll call in first,
Thank you. Call the roll.
and then we'll do that. So
Thank you.
Stokes, and look, it gave time for Carmen to arrive. Stokes.
Good. Yes, I'm here.
DeVore Leonard.
Here?
Housh.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Thank you.
Now that we are all here, and I guess Marianne's on her way.
Unless I got a last minute, I don't have anything from her.
Okay, all right, let's presume she's on her way. And thank you for the correction. Excuse me. Now, we will entertain a motion.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion to move into executive session for the purpose of evaluating a public official. And do we have a second thing, Judy?
I am told there's just the one topic.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so we
Then
have,
that's what it is.
yep.
And
Second.
Brown. All right.
Let's call the roll.
Stokes.
Yes.
DeVore Leonard.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Housh.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So we are heading into executive session, and we will see you all later.
All right, so.
Well, welcome back to now the regular council meeting for Monday, December 18th. We've just come out of executive session. I will entertain a motion to officially do so. All right, can I get a second?
Second.
All right, Judy?
Stokes?
Yes.
Dilworth Leonard?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Housh?
Yes.
Queen?
Yes.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So, announcements. What do we have in terms of announcements and other special recognitions? Yes, well, I think I saw Mary Ann first.
Yeah.
I would like to thank staff for work that was done at the Glass Farm, Ellis Pond, and Bill Duncan Park. So in particular, Tanner and the crew that he worked with cleared off the sod so that we could plant a prairie at the north part of Ellis Pond. And they also came back in and rolled it with a roller after we had seeded it. They cleared off the garden plots at Bill Duncan Park where gardeners had no longer been gardening and took away a bunch of trash. And then also at Glass Farm, where volunteers have been clearing off invasive species, they removed that. So I really appreciate the work, the cleaning up work that staff did, and please convey that to them.
Thank you. Few things. So one is just kind of a general highlight to everybody on staff to watch out for phishing and malware. I think we all know what happened to Huber Heights, but yeah, ironically, kind of related to Johnny's resolution that we've got later today. I got this random email this morning that said that I should cash out on my benefits or whatever, and I was like, ooh, this is not something that is real. So I'll just mention, I always share with tech advisors, anytime I get something that looks like phishing. But if you get something like that, it is not real. Also, I wanted to mention, Marianne, you had shared that email about getting into the mix with the capital budget and, that we only had 10 days to do it. I wanted to mention that, not only did we follow through with the PDAC process with the Dayton Development Coalition, but we did get our request into Representative Bill Dean today, and Johnny's going to be following up on that. Johnny, I wrote this thing on here that Johnny never forgets, like an elephant. So, yeah, so he's constantly
That's a compliment.
checking in with me. But anyway, so the state reps wanted those requests in by the end of today. The Senate doesn't need them till April, so we've got time in between to refine. But we're still in the mix on our key projects. Yeah, I just got to say, don't forget to shovel your sidewalks if we get any snow. We're all responsible for our sidewalks. So I realized if we had just stayed an hour longer, we could have ushered in Kevin's birthday at the last meeting. But anyway, since we didn't, I wanted to say happy belated to Kevin. And also, I believe our own Mayor Pam had a birthday last on the 7th, right? So, yes. So happy birthday to two of our great leaders.
And we're both 56.
Oh, there you go. See?
Please forgive me.
And then I wanted to mention, Gavin and I had a great check-in with Johnny 4 months in as interim, and got to cover a lot of important issues, as always. I think we'll continue those. I think it's a benefit for Johnny and council. We also mentioned, and we're going to talk more about Judy's review in a minute, but Judy mentioned I think it's a good idea to do the same kind of rotation so that all council members get to meet with both of our direct reports. And the last thing I wanted to mention is, I saw in the packet that the public health has COVID-19 tests. I know that the Greene County libraries do as well. I know in the past that the village has had them, and Johnny, I just wanted to check, like, I know we ran out. It's great if we can keep them in the mix and give people another option so they don't have to go out to Xenia to get those, although the library is pretty close. And that's all I've got.
All right. Well, Brian, thank you very much, and we will be coming back later with some special stuff.
Yes.
Just one quick thing. I did want to say I was very saddened to see that Kingsley Perry passed on. Kingsley, fantastic fellow I worked with for quite some time at Antioch, and then had the pleasure of helping out with BZA when he served on BZA. Is really a fine person. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Thanks, Judy.
Judy, thank you for that acknowledgement. Yes, that's one of the pillars of our community. Yes, thank you for that. All right, so consent agenda, we have 2 items. We have the minutes of our last regular meeting from December 4th. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Okay. Any discussion? Any updates, changes? All right. All in favor of accepting the minutes from our December 4th meeting, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. The motion's passed. Our second item in the consent agenda is a credit card statement for November. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any discussion?
So just one question. So Squarespace is our platform for the new website, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything else? All right. All in favor of approving the credit card statement, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, now review of the agenda. We are considering an executive session at the end of this meeting, so we want to be as considerate as we can in terms of our time this evening. Regarding items that will come off of the agenda, I'll start with special reports. I understand we're not prepared today to do the meter reading report since Rose is not available. And regarding the broadband update that I was going to bring, it was just going to be some brief information. There are some good things happening. Some of the issues that have been going on are being corrected, but interim village manager Burns has been directed to bring a more comprehensive report in the second meeting of January. So the updates that I have, I will share those with Johnny, and then those will be folded in, and then he and I will sort of co-present that information regarding an update on municipal broadband at the second meeting in January. Doesn't look like there's a lot of other fat to trim off the agenda. Does anyone have anything else that needs to be added or removed from the agenda?
So the only thing I wonder about is I appreciate Johnny's proposal related to marketing the CBE. I wonder if maybe a group should talk about that before we have a discussion at council table, but if we're ready to talk about it tonight, we can.
Well, let's have a discussion when we get there, and
All right.
All village manager, interim village manager is asking for is the ability to move into the ability to enter into a contract.
I mean, I think it's going to take some time to talk
Gotcha.
about the details, but
Yeah.
I'm okay with talking about that tonight.
Yeah, well, we can introduce it, and we can maybe put some contingencies on him moving forward, and we'll go from there. So we'll have a positive outcome tonight, but not expect for a lot to change until we have a deeper dive if needed. Okay? Anything else on review of the agenda? All right, and so we're going on now then to petitions and communications. So Gavin, if you would, please.
Sure. There was a letter from Rick Donahoe in regards to Burns for village manager, a letter from Matt Raska in regards to Burns for village manager, Karen Wintrow writing related to keeping the CBE commercial, the mayor's clerk on with a monthly report, Brian Housh with a MVRPC update, Dino Pallotta with related to disrespectful comments, the Greene County Public Health Department related to holiday COVID precautions, the clerk about the 2024 meeting calendar, Brian Housh also on council processes, and Elise Burns on the opposition to the opt-out, the utility roundup opt-out. And that's it.
You have the rec ordinance.
Not on the version I got. So the clerk also had information on the rec ordinance as requested. Oh yeah, this is on the recs, the stuff that we had asked to be put in about the policies for rec sales.
Yep. Okay. All right. Great. Well, thank you very much. As we move into legislation, we see that there is a second reading on one ordinance and then also an emergency reading of an ordinance. So the chair will entertain a motion to read those items in particular by title only. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Is this roll call or yay?
You can do a voice vote on it.
All right. Let's go ahead and do a roll call, please.
Sure. Brown?
Yes.
DeVore Leonard?
Yes.
Housh?
Yes.
McQueen?
Yes.
Stokes?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, that being said, Judy, if you wouldn't mind reading the second reading and public hearing of ordinance 2023-43 by title only.
This is repealing and replacing Section 1040.13 Utility Roundup Program with the Codified Ordinances of the Village of Yellow Springs, Ohio, to allow for the Roundup Program to function as an opt-out program.
Okay, so we've...
Do you want to go ahead and get a motion on that, Kevin, before we...
Yes. Please forgive me for rushing. I really am looking forward to this executive session at the end of this meeting. Okay. Can I get a motion for this piece of legislation, please?
So moved.
Second.
All right. I will begin discussing this. We intentionally spent, this is, man, I think we're at the fourth meeting that we've allowed, for this to be on the agenda, for there to be discussion about it. Johnny, if you could, and Amy, if you need to also remind us all the things that we're doing, in addition to the meetings, all the things we've done to get information out about this change that we're proposing regarding the opt-out.
I believe we put it on social media. It has been on council meetings. There's been an article in the paper as well, I believe, plus the utility office has been also informing people and as well getting calls and questions about it.
Okay. You good, Amy? Okay. This being the second reading, we are going to open up the public hearing. So if there are folks here in the room or online that want to weigh in with their public comments, now is the time to do so.
Hi.
Hi.
So I'm a villager. You got my email. I work for the village too, but I'm speaking as a villager now. I'm opposed to the opt-out program.
At least we know you, but mind identifying yourself?
I'm Elise Burns. I live in Yellow Springs. I've lived here for 6 years. And I also work for the utilities, but I'm speaking as a villager. Thank you for allowing me to speak on a matter of importance to our community. According to over 100 comments on Facebook on Yellow Springs Open Discussion, the proposed transition of our utility roundup program from an opt-in to an opt-out system. While the intention behind this change may be to increase contributions, it is crucial to recognize the potential drawbacks and legal concerns associated with such a shift. First and foremost, the opt-out approach raises ethical questions about the individual autonomy and choice. It fundamentally alters the nature of voluntary giving by making participation the default, placing the burden on our residents to actively opt out if they choose not to contribute. This shift from a conscious, voluntary decision to an assumed participation infringes on the principles of personal freedom. Moreover, it's essential to consider the legality of this proposed change. Council members present may remember that in 2022, when Councilmember Marianne McQueen first suggested opt-out, former village solicitor Brianne Parcels quickly shut the discussion down and raised concerns about the ethics and legality of this practice. This issue was dropped until it was suggested again recently. Our current system operates on the basis of residents willingly opting in to support their neighbors in need and making extra optional donations if they desire. Shifting to an opt-out model may raise legal concerns and open our village up to expensive litigation, as it could be interpreted as coercive and infringing upon the rights of our utility customers. Additionally, the proposed opt-out system may create unintended financial burdens for residents. While proponents argue that the impact on monthly bills is nominal, we must acknowledge that any increase, no matter how small, may affect individuals differently based on their financial circumstances. Forcing residents to actively opt out to avoid these additional charges could place an undue burden on those who are already financially strained. Let us not forget the importance of community engagement and trust. Shifting to an opt-out model without robust public discussion and consensus may erode the trust our residents have in the transparency and fairness of our local governance. In conclusion, while the utility roundup program supports those in need, Council must carefully consider the implications and possible legal ramifications of transitioning from an opt-in to an opt-out approach. Let us work together to find solutions that are both compassionate and respectful of the autonomy of our residents. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Elise. Appreciate that. Amy, I imagine your ears
Right.
Sure.
a couple of
Yes.
times.
When you were first discussing this earlier this year, I'd actually asked Judy to provide me with prior solicitors' opinions on this, because I know that both Brianne Parcels and I think Chris Connard had weighed in and suggested it was not a good idea. It is not an illegal idea, right? The reasoning behind the other two solicitors was illegal tax versus fee. But because there's a whole body of law in Ohio, case law, that you can't as a village exert something over your residents that is a tax that's beyond your constitutional authority to tax under the Ohio Constitution. You can opt out of this. You can't opt out of taxes. So the tax versus fee argument for me didn't hold water from the point where it was absolutely no, you cannot do this because it's an illegal tax. It is not that. It's one of the reasons why I have wanted, I like that tie, Brian.
Thanks.
And I just realized that Marianne has on a flashing necklace. It's very festive in here.
No, it's very,
So it's one of the reasons why I've wanted there to be such a long lead up to this and so much extensive discussion. I'm glad to hear people have been reaching out to Elise in her office to discuss it and say, hey, go ahead and put me on the opt-out. I don't want to be a part of it, because then we've done our job, right, in terms of getting the message out to the public. Is there still risk? Yes. Could you get sued for something like this? Yes. Could you get sued for anything you do tonight? Yes. So, there's every decision comes with some concern. Anytime you change something, of course, you run the risk of drawing the attention or even the ire of the public. But in this circumstance, other communities in Ohio that have public utilities have done the same thing. And we have a public utility department in my firm, and I vetted the idea through them to my satisfaction. And again, I found nothing more from prior solicitors' objections beyond illegal tax versus fee. So that was my analysis that went into it. I appreciate Elise being here tonight and expressing her concerns, and I'd seen her letter that had gone in the packet as well. And if you have additional concerns about it, then of course you could hold off on the second reading at this point, and we could vet it further. I wouldn't so much advise that you do that on behalf of any of the legal issues. Some of the procedural issues and things that she has raised would concern me more. But that's my 2 cents. Any questions?
Any other questions for Amy? Okay, thank you. What I would submit is that we, from a tactical perspective, we just look at what it takes to actually flip the switch. I don't think that we have talked about, like it's effective like yesterday or that kind of thing. So I think what we will do, are there any other comments from anyone, public or otherwise? All right, I'm closing.
Mary Ann.
I'm sorry, Mary Ann.
Well, maybe where you're leading is what I would suggest, that our utility staff has made some suggestions about how this rolls out. So I would like to accept whatever suggestions staff has so that it rolls out as smoothly as possible.
Yep. Yep, you're exactly right, Marion. That is what I was going. And thank you again, Elise, for suggesting, you all having agency in how this is rolled out. So if there are no other comments, we will close the public hearing.
And hearing that, if you're wanting to hear some of the suggestions from staff, then I would advise not approving the ordinance as it's drafted tonight, because the ordinance has no shades of gray. It is, everyone in the village is now opted in, right, and they can opt out if they choose to, and then once you vote on it tonight, it'll take effect in 30 days. So if you have additional concerns about not concerns, if you want to hear more from your utility department staff and figure out how to structure it in a way that it alleviates their concerns, then I would table it tonight and not vote on second reading.
Elise, do you mind coming to the podium?
I understand it's hard to speak as two separate. As a villager, I personally, I support Roundup. I give to Roundup. I round my bill up. I mean, not that it matters, but
It does matter, but thank you.
But I support it. I support the program. I see firsthand what we do. I see, as working for the village, I see who, people are in need. People are receiving Roundup funds, and people need Roundup funds. I think we need to do things to make sure that that our fund is robust and that we are able to help everyone who needs help. I just think that we need a little more transparency, a little more time to get some people didn't even know what Roundup was when they came to our office and talked about this. So that's a little concerning because it's on every single bill. But, some people don't read their bills, and that's the way we're trying to get this message out, is through our personal social media as the village. Are they following us? Through the news. Has everybody read the news? And we're also getting it out in the bill, so we're writing it in the message board. Are they reading the message board? So I'm concerned that we're not getting it out as effectively as we could. And we're doing everything that we really need to legally do, I think, but it's just hard hearing a lot of concerns from villagers. They come to us. They don't come to you guys. They don't think they have a choice. They think this is what's happening. They thought it already happened, a lot of them. They thought it's on the paper, it's already happened. So this is what we're hearing.
So if we were to vote on this tonight, and if it were to pass, how long do you think, in the best of circumstances, your staff would need to implement the changes?
I mean, we can do that in 30 days if that's what you need. I can put it on the bill going out at the end of the month, and then it would be on the next bill after that one. So we can do that. It's possible. I'm just saying that maybe people need a little more time to hear about it and to kind of know what's going on.
So this is, really quickly, this is, we can't do anything about people not reading their bills or social media. So people are gonna call.
Yeah.
Do you think?
I mean, this isn't the only thing people don't read, so don't worry. I'm not worried.
Of course. Do you think that with that 30-day lead up, would a letter in the bill, a
separate, we can do inserts, that is going to be a cost, so.
An insert in the bill, something physical, not something printed on the bill, is that another?
So I'm two-sided with this one.
Okay.
Because we flush hydrants all the time and we make all the notices, and then all of a sudden somebody gets brown water and we've noticed
Sure.
for 30 days, and now all of a sudden it's a surprise.
Of course.
No matter what we do, we're not going to get everybody to open their bill.
Sure.
The people that do ACH do not open their bill, majority
Okay.
of them. So even if we put an insert in their bill, they may not even see it.
Okay.
So 30 days would give the team enough time. This has to be done manually on every account. So if Elise and the team think that they can get it done in 30 days, that gives a 30-day period for us to market it through the website, through the Facebook pages, through the newspaper, and hopefully in 30 days, everybody will either opt in or opt out if they don't want to be in the program.
Okay. That sounds reasonable to me.
Yep. Thank you, Elise. Appreciate you. Now, yes.
So are we saying we're going to give it an extra 30 days, in other words, 60 days, or we're going to, I mean, is that what the suggestion
I'm
is?
gonna call the vote here in just a second, and we'll know what is happening after that. Any other comments? To answer your question, it would go, if it passes tonight, it will go into effect in 30 days.
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns?
Does the resolution have to be amended?
So you're suggesting going ahead and voting on it tonight, letting it take effect in 30 days?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so yes, then in that case, it does not need to be amended, nothing needs to be changed, and it will be the law of the land for 30 days. In light of the time of year, perhaps, that had not occurred to me until just now. There's probably staff in that department that are going to be off in the next couple of weeks
Right.
for the holidays. So I could see pushing it one more read in order to allow for that, but just my 2 cents.
Yep.
Could we just change it to 60 and just be done with it?
That's what I was going to ask.
There's no, let me be more clear. There's no number written in the ordinance as to when the ordinance takes effect.
Oh, I see.
Ordinances in the village take effect 30 days after, ordinances in Ohio take effect 30 days after second reading.
Sure.
So that's where, we could put something in there with an effective date in the ordinance, then we'd be amending it substantially on second reading, and I'd still be asking you to bring it back again.
Here's my question about that. So it takes effect at the earliest time allowed by law, which does not mean it has to be enforced at the earliest time allowed by law, which means that if it takes effect at the earliest time allowed by law, and they have not had time to enter everyone in until 40 days afterwards, it's no skin off anyone's nose. I don't think you need to change an ordinance to, cover that possibility, because it's not something that's mandated, it's not something that's required, it's not.
Let me pull the language of the ordinance so we can read it. All account you enrolled, the option to opt out. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a legitimate point. The ordinance will be in effect, and it might take them a while to get everyone enrolled. So, but then the timeline could just be a little bit less clear in terms of when everyone is. And I don't know enough about the process to know, do they have to get everyone manually enrolled before they flip a switch and everyone starts being automatically opted in? Or is it a rolling thing that they're opted in as you do something on the system? I don't know the answer to that. And maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Thank you. It's yes, this is surprising to me that this has taken the amount of time it's taken. So what is certainly what I have gathered is in terms of we would be allowing time for staff after tonight or after this month. Johnny's part of the conversation. He can decide to not direct the utility office to start taking action until January. That is certainly on him, and that would certainly that would address the holiday issue because I think that it does sort of have the feel of doing something undercover, if we're trying to sort of run something through at the last minute. That is not the case because, again, it's been 2 months that we've been talking about this, and thanks to the news for providing a pretty clear and concise bit of information about this. So, once again, anything else from up here? We're going to do it.
All right.
Call the roll, please.
Yes. Housh.
No.
McQueen.
Yes.
DeVore Leonard.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Stokes.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And Johnny, you've heard the comments. Take the amount of time you all feel is necessary to check all the boxes. All righty. Emergency reading of ordinance 2023-44 by title only. Judy, please.
This is approving a second fourth quarter supplemental appropriation and declaring an emergency for the Village of Yellow Springs, Ohio.
Thank you, Judy. Can I get a motion?
I move.
Second?
All right, Johnny?
All right, this is me. This is, the supplemental is for the Rumpke bill. There was not enough budgeted for it when the cost increase happened. So this is just to be able to pay the last bill of the month, for the last bill of the year. That's what the supplemental is for. The other thing that's in this supplemental is the spring cleaning. The spring cleanup is on that as well. So that is the reason for the amount. It was not budgeted for that.
So did I read it correctly? It looked like there was a subtraction on the
Electric.
electric personnel?
But Brian, give me a moment. I'm going to open up the public hearing, both for comments from council and to the public. Go ahead, please, Brian.
Yeah, so electric personnel, what's that number about?
In the same amount, too, 45,000.
I can't answer that question. I didn't see that one on there.
It's almost like they took it out of, well, actually,
They added it in and took it out.
yeah.
Because that's the only thing I saw. I didn't see anything.
Solid waste is 45,000.
What the 45,000 in the electric personnel services is, oh,
She paid the bill through another fund, and then she's needing the funds to be able to put back in it.
okay, she paid the solid waste
We went
bill
ahead and
through
paid the
the
solid
electric.
waste bill,
Okay,
and now she's asking for the 45,000 to be put back in so she can
okay, thank you.
put it back in her proper account.
All right.
Yeah,
good?
so there's no change, really.
There's
in
no
terms of
change in the electric,
It's just
correct.
moving from one. to
Correct.
another.
Any comments, concerns from the public? All right, hearing none, I'm closing the public hearing. And Judy, if you could call the roll.
Yes. Brown.
Yes.
McQueen.
Yes,
DeVore Leonard.
Yes.
Housh.
Yes?
Stokes.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. We're now at the reading of Resolution 2023-82. If you could read that by title only, Judy.
This is endorsing the 2023 Yellow Springs School Travel Plan.
Okay, can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Okay. Brian, I'm thinking this is you.
Yeah, I can talk about this. And, so currently both Mary Ann and I sit on the Active Transportation Committee. And one of the things that needs to happen every 5 years is updating the school travel plan to make sure that we're eligible for Safe Routes to Schools funds, which have, recently built the sidewalk on Limestone, before that on Winter Street. So really great program. And this is part of the process that we've done in the past to endorse that. The school board has already done that, and they're waiting on us in the township. And I think Judy shared a link to the school travel plan. You said the document was kind of messed up. Is that?
The document's online.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a pretty straightforward document. It aligns with our active transportation plan, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was a very, very well put together document. I mean, I liked it. I would sound like a lazy reader if I were to admit that I was hoping for an executive summary to sort of direct me a little better, because there was certainly a lot of information there.
Yeah.
But the fact that the information there is what I laud the group for. And it was good that all the folks who had participated in it, were listed in the document. So we have a great deal of number of folks to thank for all of this work. So we definitely appreciate you, Brian, Mary Ann, and anyone else in the room who was involved with that, and anyone listening who was involved as well. So good stuff. Thank you. You said the school board was waiting for us and the township.
Yeah, I mean, they did. endorse it at their last meeting this past Thursday. So, but they're going to submit the school travel plan once they get our endorsements.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think the other thing that's worth mentioning is last time around the village took this on. This year, the school board took the lead. And so we supported it, and Johnny's been at those meetings, but they took the lead this year, which I think is great.
Oh, good, good. All right, so, any other comments, concerns, anybody? All right, Judy, if you can call the roll, please.
All right. DeVore Leonard.
Yes?
Brown.
Yes.
Housh.
Yes.
McQueen.
Yes.
Stokes.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along. Reading of Resolution 2023-83. Judy, if you could do that by title only.
This is approving a 3-year employment contract and wage adjustment with the Clerk of Council.
All right, can I get a motion?
I move.
Second?
All right. Brian, I'm going to hand this to you and Carmen because you all led the effort on Judy's evaluation.
Okay. Thanks, Kevin.
You have the floor.
Carmen, do you want to start by talking about process stuff?
Sure. We started this last year with Judy, Brian, and I primarily on kind of performance evaluation, which is very general. We received a lot of really good feedback from everybody up here, and from Judy as well this evening. As far as the contractual stuff goes, I think that I can hand that over to you.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, as Carmen said, process-wise, we've been doing quarterly check-ins with Judy, something we want to continue, and one of the things that came out in the process is, like we've done with our village manager, having different council members check in on a regular basis. So I think that's a great way to, continue to maintain the conversations and understanding about where council's at. We also, again this year, did a 360 style feedback process. So we had a survey where basically everyone that Judy works with and council gave feedback, and as Carmen said, really positive. A couple things that are, I guess, in the continuous improvement area, but I think in general everybody's really happy, and we had a really good conversation about how we continue to work well together. So in terms of, I guess I'll make a motion at this point. There's in section 2 a blank to fill in. What I think council, or I'll make a motion, is recommending is a total of a 6.35% increase, and that combines cost of living adjustment, which this year we're talking about 3.5% for staff. That'll come in a few minutes. Judy's also eligible for a longevity increase, and then that also ties in merit increase. So all those together at a total of 6.35%. So I'll make a motion to amend section 2 to reflect that.
I second.
All right, all in favor of amending the section and entering the 6.35% into that blank, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that motion is passed. So now we have in front of us a resolution with an actual percentage entered for that amount. Is there any other discussion?
Yeah, the only other thing I want to say is, Judy, you're awesome. Thank you. You add so much value, so much institutional knowledge, and we look forward to continuing to work together.
As do I. Thank you.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, we've had a motion and a second, and we voted to pass the change. We've had a motion and a second for the overall resolution. So, Judy, if you could call the roll, please.
Yes. Housh.
Yes.
McQueen.
Yes.
DeVore Leonard.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Stokes.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, the motion has passed. All All right, this is sort of a joint effort, and we're going to do something a little different with it. We're reading Resolution 2023-84, and Brian Housh, I'm going to ask you if you could read that resolution in its entirety.
All right. And I think, Ben, you've got an image for us that we're going to pop up as well that we'll talk about in a minute. Okay. So, Resolution 2023-84, celebrating Mary Ann McQueen's contributions to the Village of Yellow Springs. Whereas Mary Ann McQueen has served with energy and dedication on Village Council for 10-plus years, and whereas Mary Ann has brought a passion for environmental issues to her role on council, working for sustainability, waste reduction, and climate action, and has led with an equal zeal in her work for affordable housing throughout her years of service. And whereas both council and the Village of Yellow Springs have benefited from Mary Ann's perspectives, interests, and work, and whereas Mary Ann's direct, open, and thorough approach has facilitated the establishment of many important policies, such as the guidelines for village policing, 100% renewable energy portfolio, we just hit that, and intentional transient guest lodging to support a healthy community. And whereas Mary Ann has been a significant positive force in sustaining our thriving village through her decades with local nonprofits in leadership positions, and by being a good listener, strong collaborator, and empathetic individual. And whereas council wishes to honor Mary Ann's commitment to the village values and her service to the community members of Yellow Springs and to the village team, now therefore, Council for the Village of Yellow Springs, Ohio hereby resolves that Section 1, Mary Ann McQueen is hereby officially recognized for her devotion and service to her community, as reflected by a record of meaningful actions to sustain a diverse and welcoming Village of Yellow Springs. And Section 2, Mary Ann McQueen is encouraged to enjoy a well-deserved break, but not for too long, as her knowledge and input will continue to be valuable for moving initiatives forward.
Thank you.
That's for you.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh, well, before we move on, before we get too further into the discussion, let's go ahead and officially, I will entertain a motion so that we can consider this resolution. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
And, okay, we have a motion and a second. Brian,
Okay.
back to you.
Yeah, so this picture on the board is going to be our latest bench that's going to be installed at the Glass Farm. And this was a collaboration between village team members, council staff, as well as several nonprofits. In fact, Michelle Burns, who is here, and Emily Seibel helped brainstorm amongst others, and of course community members. We are proposing a plaque that highlights Mary Ann's housing heroism, climate championship, and beaver believership. And yes, I think everything else speaks for itself. Wow, 10 years. It's been amazing for me. I am just going to say personally, it's going to be hard to not be sitting at this dais without Mary Ann, but I know she's going to stay very involved, and we appreciate all your great work.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Mary Ann, I will echo, I'm sorry for stealing your thunder. I would certainly echo all of Brian's comments, and you're a great team member, you've been a great friend. Something as small but meaningful as last Tuesday, which was my birthday, or whichever day it was. Yeah, you do forget after time. Well, my birthday was a Tuesday, and there was a library commission meeting, and I just didn't have a plan. I was going to miss dinner with my kids and grandkids and go to the meeting, but it was Mary Ann's idea to ask me to sit out, and she took the lead on that. And the secondary liaison really doesn't have to go to these commission meetings, but I just appreciate the sensitivity. It was a combination of serious business and just being a great person. And it really, you just cannot imagine how much it meant to me and my family that you did that for me. And I appreciate that. I'll have a birthday again next year. So.
Calendar, Kevin.
Right. Thanks. Appreciate that. We're going to open up the floor to, Gavin, to the rest of council and also to the folks here in the room if you'd like to come up and say a few words. Anybody? Yep. I'll go. Yep. Johnny's got
the best thing.
So Mary Ann, Public Works and the village staff has got you a couple of shirts. I did check. There's no spelling. There's no apostrophes. So.
Well, I'm going to go on open discussion. Thank you.
There's your yellow one, and here's your blue one.
Great.
Awesome.
Wow.
We thank you for your support for the many years that you have given it to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Man.
That's the best.
Gosh.
I know, right? Or
Yeah.
hold it up. Yeah, there you go. The yellow one.
Yeah.
Riley, did you want to get that?
Make sure you can. Can you see your name? Can you see your name? Okay.
And just as a reminder, we, just a formality, we have yet to vote on the resolution. But before, because we will close it out after we vote, but I will, again, open the floor, yes, for any and everyone that wants to come up. Yes.
Michelle Burns with the Tecumseh Land Trust. I didn't prepare any remarks, but I just want to say how wonderful it's been to work with Mary Ann over the very many years that I've been in my position at Tecumseh Land Trust, either with looking at affordable housing or conservation efforts. Mary Ann's just been absolutely a champion for both of those issues, and it's been wonderful to work together. So thank you, Mary Ann, and I hope we can continue to work together in different capacities.
All righty, great. Thank you. Yes, Pam, I'm looking at you. But no pressure. Anyone? Okay, Riley.
Hi, I'm Riley Dixon. I work for the Yellow Springs News, but I'm also a member of the Environmental Commission, kind of at Mary Ann's behest. She really encouraged me to be a part of the board. I think she's a real champion for getting younger generations involved, and I didn't mean to do that or to be kind of like an ambassador for, I don't know, young people on the commission, but I kind of am like the resident. I think I'm the only guy on the commission right now also, but I'm like the only like younger guy on the board, and I just want to say it's been an absolute pleasure to have these kinds of intense conversations. I mean, they're practical. How do we prepare for a street fair, and how do we get a booth together? But broader existential questions too. The world is getting hotter and hotter every single year, and what can we do as a tiny little community to mitigate that and improve the well-being of the people who live here in the face of these broader problems? And I think Mary Ann has really encouraged me and the rest of the commission to think about those things seriously. And I guess, I don't know, Mary Ann has really kind of taught me the importance of digging in and getting involved in a small town. And yeah, thank you, Mary Ann. I'm glad to be on the Environmental Commission with you, and I don't know if your tenure will continue after you depart council, but I hope it does in some capacity, because it's really great having those conversations with you. So thanks for everything.
Excellent. Yes, yeah, please.
Pam Canine, Mayor Pam, Yellow Springs. I don't want the moment to pass without let's just say, quieting your curiosity about what Marianne might be doing next. I know she might be a little too reserved to share this information with you, but Marianne has completed her YMCA life-saving certification, and she is going to be applying for jobs she already has at Xenia YMCA here in Yellow Springs at the Wellness Center. She has passed all the qualifying exams. She has the certification. So if you next see her in her red T-shirt and lanyard around her neck in an area pool, I think I share this with you, A, so that you know, and B, because I think she's an excellent, as Riley was alluding, she's an excellent role model out there, not only for adults and so forth, but I think for the kids to be in the pool and see this
Old lady.
age of the person.
But she can swim.
Boy, can she swim. So,
And carry 50 pounds.
yes, carry an 8-pound brick on her chest swimming upside down. So stay tuned for the further exploits of Marianne McQueen.
Indeed. Thank you, Pam. Thank you.
Well,
Yes.
I mean, I feel sort of weird. I'm not all that comfortable being, in this position like this, so it's sort of fun, I have to say that. But when I moved to Yellow Springs in '72, Tony Bent, who I was friends with the family before we moved here, was on Village Council. And I think in the back of my mind, I always thought, wow, someday maybe I'll be on Village Council like my mentor and friend, Tony Bent. And I don't know how anyone who is actually employed, full-time employed, does it. I couldn't have. So when I retired, I did, and I have experienced a gamut of emotions being on council, from feeling very excited and elated to feeling really pissed and down. And, it's sort of you win some, you lose some, you win some, you lose some. So I feel good about the time I've spent here. I think 10 years is enough. And I think that's part of local democracy, is bring more people come in and people leave, and no one is indispensable. So thank you. And I really like that bench.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
Look forward to that. Well, thank you, Marianne. Thank you, everyone else, for your comments. Once again, housekeeping, we do need to vote still. Are there any other comments? I want everyone to have the opportunity, to help celebrate Marianne and her accomplishments. And Riley, I hope your wishes come true, that she stays involved, maybe just switches seats a little bit, but still stays involved. It's probably more fun not being on council. Some of these
I'll let you know.
Please do. Well, on that note, my council colleagues, I'm going to ask you to help me vote in this resolution by joining me in offering Marianne a standing ovation.
Yay.
The motion has passed. Thank you, everyone. All right. Now, we're downhill now. Judy, reading Resolution 2023-85 by title only.
This is approving a grant to the 365 project in support of Kwanzaa activities.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
And who's got this? Okay.
I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
Do
you
it
don't,
very
I will.
quickly.
Yes, if you got a quick one.
They simply had not submitted anything to the village, and it normally goes through that route. They needed it in real soon. And so the way to make sure that gets properly through the audit and all the other channels is to do it by resolution. So that is what we are doing.
Okay, good. I appreciate that, and I know we had talked, a couple of us had talked about the dispensation of, or disposition, if you will, of the council budget remaining for this year, but part of that discussion was we knew that Kwanzaa was coming. So it was good that that we have the funds available for that, and we're happy to do it. Any other comments before we vote? Okay, all in favor of passing this resolution, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you very much. The motion's passed. Reading resolution 2023-86. Judy, if you can do that by title only.
This is approving a wage adjustment for, this is approving a wage adjustment for village employees for 2024.
Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, Johnny, I believe this is you.
This is me. This is work done by Amy Kemper and myself and Amy Blankenship. We have checked with other communities on the cost of living and averaged out, and we have budgeted for a 3.5% cost of living adjustment for all hourly employees.
Okay. Any comments from council or anyone else in the room who wishes to speak?
So I'll just say that in the course of the Finance Committee conversations and around this issue, it's just become clear that there are some, like, I don't know what you call them, like irregularities or just some evening to be done to ensure that that everybody is getting a COLA. And so just to note, I hope it's okay to say that we've talked about a staff watch that hopefully our team knows that we're doing our best to ensure there's fairness, equity, and that folks are taken care of, and this is a good place to work. So this is one piece of the puzzle, but know that we're not unaware there are other pieces of the puzzle to address too. Is that fair?
Absolutely, thanks.
Yep. Okay. All right. It's just a little bit more than a formality. We've had the motion and the second. All in favor of passing this resolution, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion is passed. And our last bit of legislation, Judy, if you could read by title only, resolution number 2023-87.
This is approving payout of vacation hours for Public Works Director.
All right, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
All right. Instead of asking Johnny to talk about this, I am. Johnny has been doing the work that he's been doing, for longer than we know. And Johnny has made personal sacrifices on behalf of the village to make sure that the ship kept afloat and stayed on course. And he's in a situation where he has foregone the opportunity to take personal leave, vacation, on more than one occasion. And just based on timing and the calendar, we're at a point where it's sort of a use it or lose it kind of thing. And so we're bringing this resolution to the table on behalf of the interim village manager so that he can indeed benefit from the hours that he's been granted by the village but has not been able to take advantage of otherwise. So this is our motivation for doing this. Is there any other conversation?
Well, I think just highlighting that this is part of Johnny's contract, so, I mean, it's contemplated that this might occur, this request, so.
Yep. Okay. All right. All right. If there are no other comments or concern, all in favor of passing this resolution, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. Thank you very much, everyone, for your participation up to this point. Now is the time for citizen concerns. If you have items that are not on the agenda, and I paused because we pulled a couple of items off the agenda. But if you have items to discuss that are not on the agenda, you'll allow 3 minutes to come up and discuss those. So the floor is open for citizen concerns. Do we have any citizen concerns? Please come up and identify yourself and your affiliation with the village.
Dino Pallotta, citizen. I had a long statement. I don't think we need to go into in-depth on that. Thank you for what we've done. You've made a commitment. It was a big commitment. I know I've done enough little work here and there. It's always a commitment, but it's always been fun working with you too. We've always had a good back and forth, and I appreciate that. Also, what final thoughts on the CBE stuff? Nothing to gut into the weeds about. Thank you for being in the president's seat and running through this. It was not an easy task. We spent 3 council meetings, that's 6 weeks that we've gone through this to try to get through all this. I think whether we want to discuss homework, what could have been done, what could have been done differently, I think had we looked at some of our previous village managers, David Heckler in particular, I've spoken with him, is that you could have used, as opposed to tasking staff with doing the work, if some council could have done some work and tasked out either Patty or with David Heckler, you could have found out a lot more of the information with regarding the covenants and the restrictions and how difficult they were, or to work around, or if there were workarounds. I wish that would have had been done, because I think we could have expedited this a lot quicker and it would have made it a lot easier and painless for a lot more people, all of us to consider. Whether we're for it or against it, I think there was a way to circumvent it, and I don't think that took place here. That's the only disappointing thing that I think that happened here, but I think we're going in a direction that we've got some resolution that we can go in a proper direction, whatever that may be. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dino.
Thanks, Dino.
Anyone else with citizen concerns? Going once, going twice. All right, seeing none, we're closing citizen concerns in the public hearing. With regard to special reports, we did have on the agenda a report from our meter readers. Due to circumstances, that will not go forward tonight. And for the record, if anyone keeping track, old business is pulled off the agenda as well. So, and there is no new business. So, Johnny, you've got the manager's report to share at your discretion.
All right. So Meg's got economic development, where we've got some things going forward. The comedy club did get its temporary occupancy. They was able to have 3 shows over the weekend. They was well attended. Construction phase 2 for Springs Meadow has been approved. So we're probably going to see that moving forward in the spring as well. I do know that they've got some under contract already to start developing over there. You'll probably start seeing the model home. My guess is they'll be breaking ground in January. That'll be at the corner of Wright and Union, right there. Spencer Building Group had some challenges on the 20-inch sidewalk and curb. And Bobcat of Dayton had some challenges too, because they lost a truck due to a fire on that job. They don't know what caused it, and it's still pending. But the good news is the sidewalk's in, and it looks fantastic. There is still some dirt on the side. The property owners are going to build a small retaining wall right there for the yard to be able to keep it off the sidewalk, but that is all done and complete. That was one that was not on our list, but we seized the opportunity to be able to get it in before the end of the year, and it makes an amazing difference for the cars parking there on a 6-inch curb versus a 16 to 20-inch curb, depending on where you measured it.
Really quickly, I have fallen off that curb myself.
Yes.
I have seen children, some of my children, off the curb. My oldest son calls it the crippler. So he's glad it's regular now.
So there was 2 sidewalks there. There was a sidewalk still in place underneath the new sidewalk, or underneath the top sidewalk, down 12 inches. There was another sidewalk still there. And I did talk to a gentleman that has lived in town, and they was having trouble with cars passing during the school hours. So they took some of the road to make for more parking, and what they did is they just put a bigger curb and poured a new sidewalk.
Okay.
Versus regrade the elevation like they should have done. So I have had great compliments on the work and on lowering it, carb doors getting dinged into the curb. People have fallen off that curb. So it's just an overall great thing to be seeing the sidewalks one by one coming off the list, and as fast as they're coming off, we're having people add them to us. So just more work that we're getting done. Broadband, give you a small update on that one. They are making some headway. They're getting some things repaired. They've got some lines lifted. We are going to be assisting, helping give a pole out to them for one on Stafford. They've got to change a route that they've got to do. They have scheduled the repair of the storm sewer at Glen and Corey Street that the previous contractor directional board through, so they've got that scheduled as well. So they have, I believe, 96 people totally hooked up now and 50 more to go, I believe. So the new contractor is making headway, and he's finding and fixing the repairs that need to be done. Water distribution guys had their first water main break last Wednesday. Let me tell you about the crews. They found that at 3:25, and they was, from the time they was notified till the time they was backfilled was 2 hours on the hardest section in town, which is the north end of over on Whitehall. And we're now looking into that line. This is 2 years in a row, and we have 3 water breaks within 100 yards of each other. So that one's sitting directly on limestone, so we need to start exploring and see what's going on. And it's, when it has no bedding and it's sitting on limestone, as soon as the limestone shifts, it snaps. So we need to come up with an alternative plan on what we need to do in that area. I did email the gas aggregation people. I did get an email late Friday afternoon. They have went out for pricing, so hopefully we will be, by January, by the first or second meeting, we will have gas pricing to come back to council. So we are in the process of trying to move forward. So I wanted to update you on that. I did email U.S. EPA for the Vernays cleanup. I have not heard back from them. I emailed them as well on Thursday. So I'm still waiting to reply on that.
Thank you.
J&T excavating, the 2-inch water main is what we're calling it. They are supposedly sending us a third price that they got from another contractor. We did receive the references, so hopefully, I'm optimistic, but I'm hoping by second meeting in January, we could be bringing something back to council so we can get this moving in February, because we got to get it moving. We're behind on schedule. They're supposed to be done in November of 23, and we have to be done by June because the second tower goes offline. So we have a tight timetable to be able to get this work done. The multimodal path has been moving along great. Riley was talking about it prior to council. Everything was going good. They had to shut down for a couple of weeks, the holidays, and they had a owner of the construction company passed away. So they will be coming back after the first of the year. They was going to wait on the bump outs on the opposite side until spring, but they seen an opportunity, so they've moved to the other side of the road now to put out the bump outs. The other thing that they've done is they've drilled holes for the rapid flashing beacons. So they had some issues. They got some rock augers in here and drilled down. So we should be seeing, I was telling Riley, I think you're going to have everything wrapped up probably March, and then they'll come back in the spring and do the striping for the crosswalks and the new striping down Dayton Street. So that's a win for us, because that project was supposed to be asphalt, and it wasn't even supposed to start laying asphalt until May of next year. So we are way ahead of schedule on that one. The utility cuts, they have been patched. so we have no more utility cuts for winter time. So if you see a new gravel spot, that means that we've done some work, emergency repair work. And Channel 5, Ben he told us today, since we have been working on this, he has increased 853% of engagement on Facebook and on the website. He has documented that there is 126 new followers on Facebook, so we're getting a message out there, trying to be proactive. We're trying to come up with something where we can share photos immediately. Ben's on it. Water main, he had it online probably within 5 minutes of us knowing that there's a water main break to keep people away from the area. So great job with Ben getting that going. We're also setting up a PayPal account. Amy Kemper is, she's notified the bank today that we need that. And Ben is working on a QR code for donations for on-street parking and donations for parking lots, to be able to get that out there, to try that, to see what we can do on the next steps. He is working with WYSO, that was another one, to try to get notification out there. And he had a meeting with Luke Dennis, so we're hoping to be able to do some things on WYSO for road closures and different ideals there.
So what was Luke's response?
It wasn't as well as I hoped, but we're going to work as much as we can on emergencies, getting things to them. We're still waiting on a reply from an email that we sent over. But it's a working process.
All right.
So that is what I have for the...
Have we heard back about Rex yet?
We have, and we have not. So we have, they're sending me a paper to sign tomorrow.
Okay.
And then they're going to bring me back a final number, but it is more than what they anticipated. So we should be hearing something pretty soon. More.
Is that better?
It is better for us.
Okay, good.
They estimated, and they believe by the time they get the paper signed back that it will be more than what they anticipated, which is good for us.
Good to know. All right. Yes, Marion.
Johnny, we haven't had a chance to talk, but is there anything you can say about what you're thinking regarding the Sutton Farm, the western portion of that?
At this point in time, I don't think that we're going to do anything right now. I'm waiting for the laydown area. That is where the job part is going to be, for the laydown for the House Bill 168 for the water line project. And then moving forward, we need to evaluate what we need to do with Sutton Farm. So I don't have a magic answer that I can give you tonight.
What's laydown?
It's where they can bring in all their pipe and fire hydrants and their gravel and dump trucks and equipment. So it's not sitting in the road.
So
it's a storage area, basically. Yep.
Okay. We good? Any other questions regarding the manager's report? All right. Thank you very much, Johnny. That was all excellent information. As I said, the old business information has been pulled from the agenda. There is no new business. Regarding boards and commissions, is there any burning hot topic anyone needs to bring forward regarding boards and commissions?
Burning hot?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. You got some smoldering.
Talked to Lisa Abel was probably 2 months ago, if not 3 months ago, about trying to market the CBE, what we needed to do and next steps. Allison is not part of the YSDC. She's actually just an advisor, and if they need to ask questions. I have asked around and talked to some different people. They feel that she's the best to do so. She's done a tremendous job with filling her spots there at Mills Works. She's helped out with 888 Dayton. She lives in town. She knows the village, And I just think it's a great thing to be able to tap into the resources and try to market the CBE that has not been marketed in the time that I've been at the village. So I think we need to at least explore it. She is wanting to be able to get it online, and she's willing to do everything, and we know that we have to have a conversation around what we're thinking about, what we need out there. The information's got to be given to her. I have not given her that information, but I'll give you some bullet points. She's willing to do the signage. She's willing to put it on LoopNet, on Catalyst. She will market it all herself and through the company, press releases, communications, and she's got a whole list of places that she will be doing so. Coordination with Cresco, Antioch College, YSDC, the village representatives. She will do a deep dive into what we're looking for and do all the homework. She's thinking that the land out there is somewhere between $75,000 and $125,000 an acre. And she's willing to move forward, do it all for a 6% commission on that. If it's another realtor, then she will share her commission. It will not come back to us for more money. But this is just the first step to be able to get her under contract, and then we will have a core group of people that needs to have input so we can know how to move forward and know how to market it.
So, go ahead.
So what clarified Allison's role with the YSDC? She doesn't have the at-large seat?
No, she doesn't have anything. She just, if they want to ask questions, she will advise them. But
So she's like ex officio or?
no,
Nothing.
she's just a citizen and a business owner.
Yeah, no, she had no affiliation.
Okay. Because it was mentioned that she was offered some kind of position, so that didn't happen? Okay.
It did not happen.
Okay.
Okay. So what the interim village manager is asking for is for council support, for him to engage with the realtor to do something that why we haven't been doing this till now, God only knows. But this is the right time. For all of what's happening, in the great state of Ohio, in various regions and whatnot, this is certainly the time where if we're going to really do a big push for expanding the use of the property at CBE, now is the time with the potential, what we hope to be somewhat of a windfall of various businesses and other entities getting started up because of the other tech industry growth in the state. So it's not a resolution, so we don't need to vote on it. But is council in agreement with Johnny moving forward in negotiation and discussions and whatnot in terms of a realtor to help us market our Center for Business and Education?
So, can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm generally open to it.
Yep.
So do I understand this correctly, that the idea is that then she would serve as sort of, what I'm hearing is almost like in this role, like almost like as sort of a consultant that would help to get all the parties on board about the purpose and that kind of thing?
She would be, yes.
Okay.
Well,
So, yeah.
So yes, and so for me, this is personally, Allison is a marketing phenom. She would be operating primarily as a real estate agent. The who sits where and the stakeholders, that's an us thing and probably a YSDC thing. But she is the marketing person that could potentially, not even potentially, she's incredibly capable, and could help us get people, businesses at the CBE.
And the reason that Johnny answered in the affirmative to the question is, as Johnny did mention in his bullet points, Allison knows who the stakeholders are. Correct. And so she will work to do her best to be able to represent, the village, number one, but to your point, Carmen, we're lining up all those other entities, but she's doing what's in the best interest of the village, and we will present, proposals to her that in terms of what we expect. I keep motioning behind
I know,
me.
who's back there? Who's back there?
We're in front.
So, so yes, and operating primarily as the phenom that she is.
Yep.
And she said something to me that I don't know anything about. So she wants to have it live the second Friday in January because that is when most commercial properties are sold. For some reason, it's like a Black Friday for commercial properties.
Yep.
And she would love to have it live on that day.
So the reason I ask, it has nothing to do with Allison. I have this is nothing. I'm just trying to understand. From my angle, it feels like we had this meeting with YSCC a few months ago, and then we talked about doing this presentation about the village, and then the CBE stuff, but it didn't seem like it ever finished. Nothing, we had some draft slides. And then the CBE stuff came up as it pertained to the housing thing, and now we're here. And so I'm just basically just flagging that, ideally, we'd have what is our strategy? And there'd be consistent work on a thing. And I don't mind the idea, I don't think, of having a realtor be the point person on a concept. I guess it just raises the question of, are we... when are we gonna, who's gonna figure out our strategy? Are we always gonna have to count on somebody to come in and then to do it in 3 weeks?
Really quickly, so I looked at the pitch deck. I looked at our marketing techniques in an observational capacity. Our pitch deck wasn't great. The use of language was strange. It wasn't as comprehensive and complete as it could have been. I don't have the time to work on it. This person is a professional, and I'd like to acknowledge Dino. Can I do that?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you.
You may.
Can I? Yes.
Just real quick, I think along those lines, Dino Pallotta again. The slide deck was good, but the slide deck was going to, it wasn't good, but it was going to primarily, you were soliciting, I was soliciting Marianne of ABC Company or Brian of JYD Company. Those were where we're going out. Allison's just going to come in as a realtor. I mean, Sheila's done the same thing with Antioch, same kind of setup. She markets it, this is what Allison's doing, this is what Allison does best. She markets the property to every and all, not where we were going with the slide deck. We were going as YSDC. We were going to certain businesses. This is just a broad base, so we could get it out there. Just as a normal realtor, and that's what Allison's going to represent for us. Is just get the visibility out for everybody, as opposed to the slide deck was just specific, was target specific. It wasn't going to be a general. It wasn't going out generally to everybody. So it just gives us a better advantage and more visibility and more. Once she puts it on Catalyst and LoopNet, you're going, it's like the MLS for commercial real estate. It's going everywhere. So it's a good thing. It's a good visibility thing.
Gotcha. Thank you, Dino. I appreciate that. And I think, Dino, you really characterized it appropriately. The slide deck, and I haven't seen it in a while. But I know, Brian, you had some input in that, and I honestly don't know the status of it. I know it was talked about at a recent YSDC meeting, so it's sort of got a life of its own, but it was filling one lane of our approach, or one prong of the approach. What I think has been missing is just, hey, world, looking for commercial space, here we are, and this is what we're doing.
Well, once we agree to do it. A couple thoughts. So, I think I do want to respond to why haven't we been doing this, and I do think there's been a lack of intentionality around, what we're marketing and whatnot. I love Allison. She was part of the Dayton Business Journal articles that we put out there, so, she's been in the mix. I think we covered cost. I don't see a big problem with 6% commission. I'm concerned about, and this may be another reason why we haven't gone this route, is the control aspect, for lack of a better word. And I want to make sure in whatever negotiations that it's not just kind of like we've given you a price and then, anybody can go in there that wants to, right? I mean, one of the things is this is village-owned property, and we have some intentionality around what does and doesn't go in there. So I feel like before anything gets released, by the second Friday of January, we need to have some clarity around what that contractual relationship is. I'm assuming that Amy B has looked at this, and maybe it's common for municipalities to do this. But I think it's also interesting that it hasn't come up before. So maybe there's a reason for that. So anyway, don't need to figure that all out tonight, but I think there are some details that we would need to see before we pull the trigger, and we could do that the first meeting in January.
Details regarding what specifically?
I think the contractual piece, again, like, it can't just be a matter of like, this is the amount we want per acre. We have to be involved in whatever final transaction there is. So
we're talking about like what businesses are, of course.
Yeah.
Right. So
I mean, we can say
we have kind of protection in that way, I think.
Yeah.
And also, it would be, I think, in our best interest to work with someone who lives and works in the community who already has an idea. And you said you.
Well, I love Allison.
Yeah,
I mean, she knows.
Right.
So I have no question about that. I think the bottom line is, making sure that we maintain that control.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay,
makes sense.
And I think just like any other real estate transaction, yes, the seller
Right.
would be involved with the process.
Sure.
And Amy, your name was invoked.
She is
Are
not
you good? Are you happy so far?
We haven't seen the contract yet, but
Right.
I'm the opposite.
Sure.
Oh, what was sent was just boilerplate
Right.
stuff? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I read through it all. I think, there are just some aspects of we should fully appreciate what that duality aspect means that's mentioned and whatnot. So,
We also have the covenants, so we can't just,
Right.
we got to follow the covenants as well.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So it's a little bit of a special case. So the question on the table is, can village manager move forward? Is there anyone who feels like the village manager and his support staff should not move forward with this endeavor? Riley?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I know it's maybe not appropriate to ask a question at this point in the meeting, so I apologize, but, Riley Dixon, I guess I want to know when the conversations with Allison initially began, and because I'm kind of getting the impression that these conversations might have occurred around the same time as the conversations that have been taking place over the past month about putting housing on this land. And I'd be curious to know if this negotiation with Allison might have colored the tenor of the conversations over the past month with putting housing on that land.
Yep. Well, I will say from my perspective, no. Any engagement with Allison has not colored or tinted or tainted those conversations. In terms of initial conversation, I think, well, Johnny said months.
Well, it was the second meeting when, actually my first meeting, I'm sorry, when Lisa Abels come in here and requested that I attend YSDC. And it was that next week that I reached out to her and she come and met me in my office. That's how long I've been talking about it. So.
So all the while, over the past month, when we were talking about putting housing on CBE, there was that in the back of everybody's brain that Allison was going to be putting this up?
No,
No, that's not, I wouldn't say in everybody's brain. I mean, that's. I mean,
This is, just really quickly, I know that the village has been, or YSDC, we've, kind of, Allison's kind of been in an informal advisory position. And speaking with her about marketing the CBE has been way before.
I've never. Right.
Yeah, like not, I don't think that the two are related.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be accusatory
Right,
by any
yeah.
means, but I don't know, there's a lot of coinciding here.
Yeah, well, I mean, somebody help me. When did YSDC and council meet?
May.
Here, May. So
May.
the conversation about marketing CBE in some capacity or another started in May.
Okay.
Okay.
That's really all I was looking for,
Yeah.
just kind of a timeline.
Gotcha. Understood. Thank you. Any reason to not move forward? There is a timeline. No one's going to give away anything in the meantime. We'll have opportunities to walk through the details. As Johnny and Amy just suggested, we've got a draft contract, but not an actual contract. Council will see anything that comes from Allison.
Yeah, so it sounds like we want to have that for the meeting on the 2nd. Right? If we're trying to meet this.
Yep.
Okay.
So we will move as
I'll reach out.
expeditiously as possible, and we'll have the results of the work that's done in the meantime in a package presented to council.
So I'm really unclear about what's happening. So yes?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
okay.
yes.
Well, yes, so we're exploring the contract. but-
Yeah, right, yes, and contract to be
Yes.
explored.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. We're good?
I think so.
Okay. I think the answer was no on boards and commissions. Future agenda items. And let me remind us once again that we will have a brief executive session. We will pause the public meeting and have an executive session, and then come back from that short executive session and adjourn then. Anything on future agenda items, which, as you can imagine, would take on a life of its own between now and the end of the month. Did anything come out of, well, other than the previous discussion we just had? We know that'll be coming, whatever we can get on the real estate issue, that'll come 1st of January.
Rose's report?
In January. Yeah, Rose's, I think we initially said first week, first meeting in January. I suggested we see what comes out of this meeting. We already have one thing that's already there. So depending on the depth and breadth of the first meeting, Rose will either come then or the second meeting in January. Okay? All right, any other agenda items?
So the only other thing is, are we still planning to work session commissions and committees in that first meeting?
The answer, at least that's a question on the agenda.
Right.
That was, I don't even know when that got put on there, but that's part of what we sort of alluded to earlier.
Yeah, we talked about it at the last meeting.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should, and, we don't have to make decisions until the second meeting, but we could arguably do it during the first meeting. I know from talking to Trish, because I mentioned, some things like the Active Transportation Committee was one that, and she was interested in kind of, figuring those out sooner rather than later. What I did recommend to Judy is if we are going to come in and sort of, work session it, that Judy could create just a worksheet with all the commissions and committees so that people can, start to take their own notes about what they're interested in and come into the meeting with that. So
I think that's a good, excuse me, a good idea. I've also had a conversation with Trish about the various boards and commissions. I even suggested, yeah, you should just replace Mary Ann on the library commission, because I have a birthday next year. And somebody, I didn't say all of it.
Good to plan ahead, yes.
Yeah. Well, and what I effectively said is, it's not Legoland, where everything that Mary Ann did that the new person fills in. I think that was just one thing where it just made a lot of sense. It's low-hanging fruit. And oh, by the way, those of you all who were at the Library Commission, we just went back to quarterly.
Oh,
Yes.
I just published my calendar.
I know, and thank you for that.
Yeah, give me your quarterly dates, because,
I'll give it to you tomorrow.
yep, because I have time to change it
Okay.
for the paper. Yipper, thank you.
This is the first one.
All right, so there's a lot of work to be done in the meantime and through other communications as we prepare the agenda for January 2nd and 16th. That being said, if there's nothing else on future agenda items, we are going to pause the public meeting, and I will entertain a motion. Can I have the language for the executive session? Please.
It's going to be for the purpose of evaluation of a public employee and personnel matters.
Okay. So I will entertain a motion for moving into executive session to consider evaluation of a public employee and personnel matters.
I move.
Second?
All right. All in favor? I got to go roll call. Okay, roll call, please.
Stokes?
Yes.
Leonard?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Housh?
Yep.
McQueen?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So we are now heading into executive session. This will be a private meeting. Thank you for everyone that came out.
And you will not
Are we going to the other?
The regular council session, we have come out of executive session. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we are adjourned. Happy holidays. Amy, sorry this went as long. I was
No, I'm
hoping.
fine, it's good. John, are you want me to do anything with this stuff over here? Can I leave it?